Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we've got another video with the SN95. Today we're going to be washing it, clay barring it, compounding it, polishing it, as well as fixing the front bumper with zip ties. So as you guys can see, we kind of have this tent and tarp, I guess, contraption right now. And right now it's like actually like parked halfway in my friend's garage because we are actually going to fix this first. I think I showed this to you guys on the first video with this car. We basically bought it like this, and this is actually the Cobra R front bumper. It also has the Cobra R hood. So my friend doesn't actually want to really get rid of this bumper, but it is cracked, and once this thing actually gets on the road, if you can't really bring that out onto a highway because the amount, like, I guess the wind's going to push on it, it's actually technically does make it unsafe. First, we're going to do like a drift stitch, like with some zip ties. Unfortunately, there is a piece right in there that is cracked. And then after that, we're actually going to basically just power wash the car, kind of like how I did when my friend picked this up. But except now we're actually going to clay bar it, compound it, and then polish it. So I'll kind of go through that whole process with you guys, but first things first, I'm kind of going to start on the process with the front bumper. All right guys, so the first problem that we actually have with this bumper is that it's actually going to be really hard to get underneath because there's kind of like this lip that goes underneath. So we're basically just going to take the full bumper out, right?
Yeah.
And go from there. Now, right now, for this SN95 bumpers, we actually don't know exactly how to take them out, but it looks pretty simple. There was 2 pins in here. There's 2 Phillips head screws in the wheel well, so both sides. So once we get that out, I'm pretty sure there's going to be electrical connections for the headlights and the turn signals. But I think that's going to be it. I don't know. But we're not going to kind of go through that whole process. We're going to try to just focus on actually fixing this bumper with zip ties.
Oh, wait. There you go. There you go.
So now we have the bumper off. As you guys can see, it's basically cracked right here. Also cracked here. Yeah, I don't think this is gonna get like
we're gonna be drift doctors at this point. Do drift stitches. I mean, you'd be a drift surgeon at this point. What the?
Yeah, this is not like a straightforward like single crack. So we'll see what we can do. But generally, what you want to do if you are doing this with your car, you basically want to take either duct tape. In our case, we're actually going to use painter's tape. They can both work, but you basically want to tape it to the point where it's kind of like held in, like where the crack was. And then once it's there, you want to tape, like put a tape over the actual crack. And then you drill in like little holes. And then the stitches actually, they kind of like do like a cross pattern. And basically we took the bumper off because we're going to have to feed them through the front and then reach around the back and see where like it comes out and kind of like line everything up. So one tip I have if you're looking to do this exact same thing at your home, first of all, you need a drill and you need a bit that actually matches the width of the zip tie that you're using. So literally just hold the width of the zip tie up to here and it should be pretty much around even. Now this is actually the smaller bit that we're going to be using. I have a bigger one, but we're going to basically make the holes with this one first. If we can't fit the zip ties through, then I'll go over to the bigger bit. But yeah, that's pretty much it. All right guys, so now I'm going to start drilling these first holes here. So as you can see right in here, you can kind of see like all the different lines where the actual crack is. So now what you want to do, you want to leave a little bit of space here. And again, you want to drill over the tape because if you don't, the bit can like hop around the body and stuff. So right now I'm going to make kind of the first hole. All right, and now I'm going to try to fit the zip tie in. Yeah, just what I thought. It's not going to fit in all the way, so I'm going to go to the bigger bit. So that's one thing you got to be careful of, the actual tape sticking to the bit. But that hole should definitely be big enough. And again, this is all like completely custom. Like that's what's great about this, because you can literally just do this at home with literally just zip ties. And as you guys can tell, this fits in perfect. So now what we're basically going to do, drill holes all the way up, kind of like about a ½ inch, actually about an inch away from each other, depending upon how it is. Now again, this crack isn't some like just simple like single crack. It's like a weird spider crack, so it's definitely going to be really complicated. We're also going to have to go inside here, like where the fog light sits, because the crack extends down to there. But yeah, I mean, if I know there's actually a lot more informative videos out there on this particular like drift stitch method. So I'm not going to spend too much time with it, but I'll take some, I guess, clips as we're doing it, and then basically cut to the end, cut to the finished product. We're also using black zip ties. On the black paint, it should blend in really well. Again, if you want to use red, yellow, like that's literally, you could do whatever you want. So that's another great thing about this specific fix. I'm gonna kind of cut to the end of this and show you guys how this comes out. Alright guys, so now I actually drilled all the holes in, and if you take a look at these holes, so basically how I did it, again, I just kind of followed every single crack. Now the only real complicated parts that we're going to have is right here, actually, no, right here. Basically, you want to go in pairs with these, and that's exactly what I did, but right here, we have one that's going to go to this and this to make like kind of like a Y stitch, because we're missing a lot of material right there, and it's not some simplistic like single crack thing. And also right here we do have like a Y stitch that's going to go here to here, and down here we just have two holes that's going to go for like a single stitch. But real quick, again, I'm not going to take you guys through this whole process, but I'm going to take these two zip ties and show you guys what I'm going to do. Now normally when you do this, you want the smooth end on the outside just because it looks a little bit better. But these zip ties actually both have like the jagged edges. So basically all you're gonna do, and when the bumper's off the car, it's a lot easier. You go behind it, you feed it through the bottom one. So you feed it through this bottom one, and then you go back in like that. And then you just literally just tighten it all down. And since we did it while the tape was on it, everything's gonna be where it needs to be once it's actually locked down. And then you do the same thing where you go, you put it through this hole. Oh, sorry, I can't get it through the damn hole. There we go. And then just tighten it down like so. And then boom. So that's pretty much what we're going to be doing to this entire thing, except again for like right here and then the other Y stitch over there. But yeah, it's very simple. You guys can literally just do this at your house, and it comes out really good. Now again, I think honestly I'm gonna show you guys how this actually comes out in a little bit, but I think it's gonna blend together really well with the black paint. But you can literally do it any color you want. You want to do like red stitches on black paint, yellow, whatever. You can literally get any freaking color zip tie. That's what the good thing about this specific, I guess, little tiny project. But yeah, I'm pretty much just going to cut to the end of this, show you guys how this came out. We're going to throw the bumper back on, power wash the car, clay bar it, compound it, polish it. It should come out great. Alright guys, so now we are all done stitching the bumper together. Again, it doesn't look like mint. It's not perfect, but it works. As you can see, all the gaps are pretty much gone now. I mean, you do have the parts where the materials are missing, and actually right here is the kind of, I guess, triangle stitch, whatever you want to call it, that I had to do, as well as like right here. Like it's a regular stitch, but we also from this hole ran a little thing out here, And right in here I just did the single stitch, and I mean, yeah, it's sturdy now. Like I mean, I don't know how else to, I guess, demonstrate how good it is, but I mean, it's actually really strong now. So now we're basically just going to throw the bumper back on the car, and then we're going to kind of pull it out. And as you can see, again, we have the whole like tarp connected to the tent over here. So we're going to try to pull it out, and we have this actually because the sun's like up on that side. So we're gonna pull this out and basically just give it a good power wash, and then clay bar it, compound it, polish it. We don't know how to get this adhesive from the duct tape that was on it when Tom actually bought it, so we don't know how to get that off. We're gonna try to figure that out as we go, but I don't know how it's coming out. But as you can see, like, the paint's in good condition, but it just has like dirt and like all these little nooks and crannies, plus a bunch of scratches. And overall, it's just going to look a lot better after we are done with it. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to throw the bumper back on, pull this thing back out, keep it covered from the sun because you do not want it drying while you're doing stuff like this. And then I'll show you guys how it looks when it comes out. Alright guys, so now we are going to power wash the car. Basically we pulled it out a little bit, but unfortunately this tent isn't big enough to block the entire car. So what we're going to do, we're going to go right up to the end of the door here. I kind of put tape over it just so we can kind of compare side by side. So this entire, I guess, front two-thirds of the car, because it's not necessarily like an even half, but we're going to do this front half first. Literally everything, power wash, clay bar it, compound it, polish it, and then we're gonna show, like, I guess, the side-by-side comparison, and then move on to the back. Now the back, the only problem that I really see with the back is this adhesive left over from the duct tape when Tom bought it, and also that's on the other side as well. I mean, but besides that, we should be fine. We have holes here in the trunk where spoilers should be, but they're covered up by tape. We just have to not go over that with like the polisher or whatever. So now we're actually going to, again, start clay barring this car. Now the whole process, how it works with clay barring, again, we're going to do everything from this tape up. So we're going to go basically panel from panel. That's what you want to do when you clay bar a car. Again, a very important part of clay barring a car is that it has to be in shade. You know, 100% has to be in shade. It's very hard to do a clay bar on a car that's outdoors in the sun, because it dries too quick. Now that being said, you don't want it to dry very quick because you want the surface to be wet while doing it. You want to basically have soapy water and put it in like a spray bottle, or you can use a bucket and a towel, and then while the actual surface is wet, you just smooth, like you just rub the clay bar over it. You don't actually like dig in, you just glide it over, and it literally picks up all the contaminants. So I'm going to show you guys a couple clips while we're actually clay barring the car. It should come out amazing just clay barring it, but when we clay bar it and then we move on to compounding, which is a lot more like grittier than, I guess, clay bar just gets like the surface contaminants off, whereas compounding car actually like kind of digs into the clear coat a little bit. And then once we go from that and then finish it off with a polish, it should be like a mirror. It should be perfect. A lot of these like little scratches and stuff should come out of the paint, and overall, like, the car should just look 100 times better. All right, guys, so now we're starting off on this door here, and I literally just, I don't know if you guys can see that, they're focusing. Yeah, I just did a quick pass on the windows. Technically, you can clay bar the windows too. Some people do, some people don't, but I literally just went like this, and as you can tell, I'm not pushing on it at all, and I literally got that up just from the windows. Now, Tom, can you show me yours? Yours probably has a lot of stuff on it. Actually, not that much. But what you want to do once you have actual like contaminants on it, you basically just fold it over and on itself, like flatten it out again, and go right to a wet spot and just glide it across the car. Now, if you listen closely, here, keep going. Keep going because the car messes up. You can hear some of the grit actually that Tom's going over with his clay bar. But once you like keep doing it, and you basically, we're going to start, this door is going to be the first panel we do. Once you go over the entire panel and you don't actually hear any of that grit, that's when you know that you're pretty much good to go on. All right, so that's literally all you guys want to do. Get it wet and then just go over it as the surface is wet, and it literally gets up all the contaminants. It is a longer process. It does take a decent amount of time, and again, your car has to be, I can't stress this enough, the car has to be in the shade, or at least the part that you're actually clay barring needs to be in the shade. But yeah, I'll pretty much show you guys how this comes out, and then we'll move on to compounding and then polishing this front half, then turning the car around, backing it up in this little like a makeshift tent or whatever, and then hopefully the entire car should come out like outstanding. All right, guys, so literally all we did was just clay bar this one door and dry it, and you can already tell the difference between that side and that side. I don't know if the camera's picking it up that much, but I mean, it looks really clean in person. Now, yes, I know there's still water on it. We're not really worried about that. We're gonna kind of like let it dry for a little bit. Again, it's not in the sun, so you're not gonna really get water spots or anything. So we're gonna wipe it down completely dry. We're gonna move on to the next panel. This front fender, and then the hood, the bumper, the other fender, and then the other door, and then we're going to move on to compounding the car and then eventually polishing it. All right, guys, so now we're pretty much done for this video. Basically what we did is, again, we basically clay barred, compounded, and polished this front side. So right now, let's just kind of like, I guess, look at the difference. Honestly, on the camera, it doesn't look like that much of a difference, but over here, like, it's pretty much a mirror. And then over there, you still have all the dirt and everything else, and obviously still the adhesive from like where the duct tape was when we first bought this. But I mean, yeah, it does look very, very good. One thing that we didn't do on the front, we actually didn't compound or polish the front bumper, because the previous owner did tell us that the front bumper was like fairly new, and honestly, looking at the paint, it didn't really need it. Plus we have the stitches here, so obviously you don't want like the polish or whatever near that at all. So I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. You can still see, obviously it still has some cracks in it and scratches and paint chips here and there, but for the most part it's coming together really, really well. Now the next time you see this car, the entire back half is going to be completely finished. So yeah, hopefully this entire back half, like you can see all the dust and everything, because we actually didn't even wash this, so it's still very dirty. But yeah, the back half is hopefully going to look just as good as this front half here. But yeah, I kind of wanted to just give you guys a comparison, and I know on the camera it doesn't look that good, honestly. Like, it doesn't look that much better than the backside, but I'm telling you guys, like in person, it's like a mirror. Now, one word of advice when compounding and polishing, or just using like, I guess, like a polisher, you just want to go very slow, not really dig into the paint that much. Areas like this where it's got like this weird body line that comes up, I don't know if you guys can tell, but it kind of comes up on both ends. You don't really want to hit this with a polisher. If you have hand compound or something like that, that's a lot better than actually going over it with a polisher, because what you'll do is, like this little peak right here, you'll actually like scrape off all the clear coat right there. And again, you don't want to compound too much either, because if you do, eventually all the clear coat will come off your car, and that's a lot worse than just not even compounding it at all. So anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video on the SN95. We do have a lot more plans with this car in the future, but yeah, it is coming along nice. It's definitely a lot better than when we first got it, but there's still multiple things that we do want to do to this car. So yeah, if you stuck to the end of this video, definitely be sure to leave a like, subscribe to my channel down below if you want to keep updated with this build and other builds in the future. But until the next one, see you guys.